Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Adrift. We're back here again, and I asked you guys to make the decision on what we are going to tell Erica here, because, a little recap. We're talking about Moray, the weird creature that we had talked to that appears to be some sort of, conscious group of what we assume to be bugs that have killed us before. But sort of robot bugs, kind of cool. But we think they're lying, and we're trying to present evidence as to what they told us was lying. And she's asking, if she's asking for us to explain to her. We could tell her to ask her to trust us, or we could tell her, and I wanted to tell her, and the one comment said that they wanted us to tell her, so we're gonna go with that story and hope it goes well. Maybe you still remember the history lessons from back when you were a child. Blue Tide and the other underwater communities were founded because Earth had become too small to provide enough living space for everybody. Or rather, the population of Earth had grown too big. By this time, Earth was governed by the World Council, an organization that had grown from the necessity of the former individual nations to cooperate in tackling the tasks of dwindling resources. There had actually been small underwater research stations decade before the first city was founded, so actually building communities on the bottom of the sea wasn't that much of a problem. So, technically, there was a solution to the problem, relocating half of the population underwater. However, there was still one question to be answered. Who would actually want to live underwater? In school, you learned that there were a great many volunteers. Many people found the prospect of never having to work again very exciting, and the technology was proven to be safe, so they gladly moved into the new communities. They were called the Pioneers, and everyone here considers them brave and heroic for choosing to give up their former lives on the surface. It's just that it isn't true. None of the people that came to Blue Tide as pioneers actually volunteered. They were chosen for relocation by the World Council and never had a choice. The World Council, however, couldn't just arbitrarily select some people without reason, so they chose to approach the problem scientifically and looked at genetics. Only people without any genetic defects were allowed to stay on the surface. They called it choice of the fittest and said it would greatly improve humanity. If all the genetic defects that could lead to health problems later were removed from the gene pool, that would lead to healthier people. If people with congenital disabilities were no longer born, that would relieve the other people from the task of having to take care of them. So, everyone's DNA was tested, and those who were found unfit to remain on the surface were medicated in order to remove the memories of their former lives, and then relocated. Oh, got a little sinister, didn't it? They were medicated, brainwashed even, and then moved. And that is why I'm certain that Moray's story cannot be true. Everyone who lives down here was born as the child of two people selected because of a genetic defect. Essentially, Blue Tide and the other underwater cities are the last place you'd go to if you were looking for a way to diversify the gene pool. So, they lied to you as well, I guess. Pardon? Are you talking about Moray? Who else did they lie to? I'm not talking about the Moray. I'm talking about the people who built Blue Tide, or rather, who chose the Pioneers. Now you've got me confused. At least, now I'm sure the supervisor was never part of the entire conspiracy. Conspiracy? What conspiracy? You're talking in riddles. I'm sorry I'm confusing you, Supervisor, but there's something you need to know. Well, then tell me. When the Pioneers first came to Blue Tide, their memory about their former lives were wiped. Give me a second, I need to make a video cut. Sorry, I needed to clear my throat. Of course they were erased. It was necessary to remove any emotional attachments the Pioneer would have towards dry land. They would never return, so doing something about homesickness was a great concern. But this isn't the entire truth. Well, don't worry, I know the real story. I know why the Pioneers were really chosen. Why were they really chosen? Officially, they were chosen for having defective genetic material, a good scientific reason to make it look as though this was for the benefit of humanity. However, that was a lie. Eugenics, I'm assuming that's how you say it? Eugenics had nothing to do with this. What? The real reason was to get rid of undesirables, criminals, political descendants, mentally and physically disabled people, everyone who wasn't a benefit to society. The DNA tests were used as an explanation for their selection were fake. Blue Tide and the other underwater cities are now full of people the elite wanted gone from the surface. That's impossible. Why would that be impossible? The history of humanity has seen more atrocious acts than that. No, it's impossible that you would know something like that, especially since this is different from what I know. Then you were given false information as well. Who says your sources are correct? My great-grandfather was a scientist who was deported to Blue Tide because he didn't want to share his research with the government. His field of research was biological data storage devices, living tissue that could exchange information with computers. Biological data storage devices? You mean something like a living memory disk? Very much like that. Before his mind was wiped, he stored everything he knew on one of them and planted it under his skin. That's how he brought the information to Blue Tide. His son, my grandfather, found out about it years later and was able to decode it. He passed the information to his daughter, my mother, and she to me. So, this is how you know of this. Yes, my family secretly continued my great-grandfather's research here in Blue Tide. We've never forgotten what the Drylanders once did to us. Strange. And it makes me wonder, maybe what Moray was saying is actually the truth. If everyone down here wasn't deported because of defective genes, they really could be needed on the surface. But then again, only their genetic material is needed. There's no reason why they should be offered a place among the descendants of those who once got rid of them. The Drylanders treated the pioneers like trash. Whatever they are plotting now, it can't be a good idea to let them into Blue Tide. I cannot be sure they won't harm the citizens. But we did know last time they did shoot Erica, so harming is definitely among their list of options. It's funny, isn't it? My great-grandfather's work could be continued because those who didn't want him to continue deported him down here. A little ironic, yes. Which, by the way, irony. That's irony right there. Do not call something coincidental irony, because that's not irony. That's coincidence. This is irony. Wouldn't you agree that it was a good thing that these underwater cities were built? All those undesirables finally had the liberty to do what they wanted. Oh, decision. Okay. Let me look over it really quick. So she's saying, it's a good thing that these underwater cities were built. We could say that she's probably right about that, or we can ask her, how can you say that after what happened to your family? And I'm gonna make another save here, just for safety's sake, so I don't have to do all that skipping. It's, not as much fun as you might think. I'm gonna try to be nice to her. At least this would be my version of being nice, and say, how can you say that after what happened to your family? Or at least this is what I would say in a situation like this. And even on a greater scale, it was not a real solution because it didn't solve the main problem, the growing population. Even with the bottom of the sea colonized, Earth can easily become overcrowded again. And people don't just belong underwater. We need domes to protect ourselves from the water pressure, and there's no telling what accidents can happen down here. I mean, look at our situation now. Who would have thought that a ship might sink and fall on the city? Supervisor? Yes? I was being sarcastic. Sorry if it sounded as though I was defending the Drylanders. Oh. Of course, I agree with you. These underwater cities could have never been built. Just deporting people you think you don't need is just wrong. Good. I was really worried about what you were thinking. Sorry about that. Now, about that submarine out there. Yes, the submarine. I think I have an idea about that. Please don't attempt to directly contact them. You do? There's something exotic I can do. Exotic? That's an odd word choice. It's not as though I've ever tested the method, but in theory it should work. Then what is it? It would take a little long to explain, I'm afraid. But if you want to, I can just demonstrate it. Demonstrate. All I need is a hardwired access to the network you use to control your robots. The link circuits are right next to my sensory deprivation tank. Then let me work there. But I really don't want anyone fiddling around there. That's the last bit of connection I have to anywhere in the city. Oh, please, Supervisor, I promise I won't break anything. Well, with the submarine next to Blue Tide, I suppose I have to take the risk. Yes, let me work this out. You won't be disappointed. The last time that I thought you'd worked something out, you did end up getting shot, and I was slightly disappointed. Alright. All robots, move to the Supervisor's core. Just pick out any robot and follow it to my tank, like earlier. I'm on my way. Why is she getting all excited all of a sudden? Must be a really good idea she's having. Just like your good idea of directly contacting the aliens? Or weird bug creatures? Or is she planning something else? I think I can trust her. She's been nothing but helpful so far, and her skill level is very high. I think I'll just let her surprise me. Of course, poor ECU's gone. Okay, now where's the next physical access to your link network? You're standing right on top of it. There's an access hatch on the floor beneath you. I see it. It should have a handle on top that turns counterclockwise to open. Yes, but... Sounds like it's stuck? Stuck is probably too weak a word. Maybe word is what she meant to say? Well, there's a century of residue in the gaps. Don't you supervisors ever have your room cleaned? There are usual procedures where a robot sweeps and mops the floor, but beyond that... Yes, I have it open. Good. At least I hope that is good. There are no standard ports where one could plug in a hardwired system, are there? No, but that hatch you open has a magnetic data exchange port for an easy diagnostics unit. Ah, perfect. That way I don't have to jerry-rig something. A few wires for my wristcom should be enough. Enough for what? Enough to allow me to log into Link. With what device? Your wristcom? No, silly. I won't log in my wristcom. I'll log in myself. Yourself? Hang on. What the... Erica, Biocon is now online. Supervisor, ping! Pong. Hey, what the... It's working great. Erica, what the... I've logged into Link. Wow, it's even more beautiful than I thought. You have logged into Link? But no way, you need all sorts of implants for that. Neural interface boosters like the one you have. I know, Supervisor, but I don't need that. But how... I don't know how long this connection is stable, Supervisor, so maybe I can give you the explanations later on and continue with my work first? Thank you. Okay, pretty much everything looks the same here. I'm looking for a different pattern. Now where... What exactly are you looking for? A presence unlike the ones that usually connected to... Aha! I found it. Supervisor, I'll be offline for a moment, okay? What the... Erica, Biocon is connected to an unknown server. Ooh. This is really interesting. I like this. What the heck is she doing? How did she get connected to Link? I don't understand what's happening here. What kind of interface device is Erica using? I didn't see her bringing anything in here that could be used. Her wristcom certainly can't be enough. Maybe she's a robot. And she can't be connected to Link herself. People can't do that without the help of a neural interface booster. A brain implant she definitely isn't carrying. I wonder where she went to. Yeah! Bright, too bright, what happened? Supervisor, ping! Pong. Whoa, that was weird. What the... My connection to the city. It's suddenly back. Supervisor, it's working, it's working. What the heck did you do? I connected you back to the city using the submarine's communication system. It's pretty powerful, you know. We are Moray. Restore our control of the submarine immediately, or we will consider this the second hostile act by your community. What? You've taken over control of the submarine, we said. We demand you restore control immediately. Erica, what did you do? You might say I hacked the systems of the submarine. You hacked them. Just a little. You have 30 seconds to restore our control of the submarine until we take measures against your city. Erica, can we use this connection without Moray hearing us? Sure, all data sent through this network is tunneled. We're using the same protocols as always. Ty, report in. This is the Technical Artificial Intelligence. Hello, Supervisor. You have technical request pending. 20 seconds. I know, but there's another priority that has to be taken care of first. All 9 control relays were destroyed and my physical connection is down. I need them repaired immediately. I have started the process diagnostics. 10 seconds. I've initiated repair procedures. Your connection to Blue Tide will be restored within 29 minutes and 17 seconds. That's substantially more than 10 seconds. Erica, return Moray's control of the submarine. But... now. Okay. Our connection is restored. Explain your unprovoked act of aggression against the submarine. First, explain why you're trying to gain access to the city by trying to push a fake story on me. We do not understand what you are saying. Your story about returning everyone to the surface because the gene pool needs fresh DNA. That's bogus, isn't it? Strange. As a human being, you should have reacted positively towards the situation we described. So you're admitting you lied. Your situation didn't work because I had background information that contradicted with what you were saying. You should have just told us the truth. We described the true situation during our first contact with this underwater community. We were met with violence. Your first contact? Right, you said that this was the second hostile act against you. What was the first? The destruction of the Oceanic Explorer 12 by a missile attack from this facility. Missile attack? Supervisor, could they mean... Are you talking of the battleship that almost crashed on Blue Tide? That was Oceanic Explorer 21. A massive attack consisting of underwater missiles destroyed it within 11.2 seconds. Supervisor, you attacked that battleship? It must have been me. The AIs have no authority to do so. But why? I don't know. I was in my subconscious state when that happened. I have no real memory of what happens during that time. That's what... Central memory, ping. Pong. Central memory. Replay the content of all communication channels open between timestamps 5:30 and 5:35 and 5:36. Processing. Unable to process. Recorded communication channels between those timestamps were deleted by the supervisor at timestamp 30... Oh, okay. I deleted the information? Moray, what on earth did you tell the supervisor during that first contact? We exchanged information on the situation on the surface. And what is that situation? Revealing that information resulted in the destruction of Oceanic Explorer 12. We will not make the same mistake twice. Oh. Whatever it was, if it made me attack your ship, it was something serious. I must consider you and your submarine a threat to the city and ask you to leave. We consider your community a threat to us as well. We must be allowed to take your residents to the surface. Denied. And don't even try to force your way in. I took control of your submarine before, and I won't hesitate to do it again. May we propose an agreement then? What sort of agreement? We will from now on ignore the settlement and remove its threat rating from our assessment. In exchange, your residents will never try to leave your community. So, you'll leave us alone unless we try to leave Blue Tide? We will monitor all activity around this area, and any signs of residents in your community trying to leave it will be interpreted as hostile activity and will result in appropriate measures. If you could just destroy the city, you would have already tried that. Incorrect. The resources necessary to destroy a community of that size can be used otherwise if a solution is found that does not require the destruction. Ah, a simple matter of mathematics. In that case, I accept. You leave us alone, and we don't try to leave Blue Tide. Agreed. We are logging off now. I think we did it. We sure did. Hang on. Erica, Biocon is now offline. Oh, I'm dizzy. Erica? Whoa, the room is spinning. I mustn't do this so often. Hey, you're back. Looks like it. Now, would you kindly explain what you did just now? Of course, sorry, this all must have been very confusing to you. So to say, you already know about my great-grandfather's research, living tissue that can store data. You told me about it. My grandfather and mother continued that research over the last decades, and so have I, though only for the last few years. My grandfather developed the original tissue to the point where it could not just store, but actually process data. Biological living positronic circuit, so to say. My mother managed to develop a neuronal interface out of human brain tissue that could serve as a link between the biological circuits and someone's nervous system. And I had everything implanted into my cortex. And I've spent the last few years training to use it actively. Let me guess. That training is what gained you the reputation of being a spark. Yeah, probably. And you can just hack positronic systems now? With your mind? Well, I can, sort of connect to almost any sort of positronics. Machines, computers, comm systems. I could even remap my brain to act as a positronic network. That's amazing. Yes, but I don't think that process would be reversible. Essentially, my brain would stop communicating with my body permanently. That's very probable. I have no control over my body as well when I'm fully connected to the city. May I ask you a favor? Erica, you just saved this entire city. You may ask me any favor. Could I see you for a minute? See me? Your physical shape. I've always wondered what you would look like after a life inside an isolation tank. Probably not very attractive, I fear. Yes, I assumed that much as well, but still, could you allow me just one look? I suppose that's not entirely impossible. So, you're going to do it? Let me see. Life support. Prepare a safe sequence for opening my sensory deprivation chamber and keeping my physical function stable outside the chamber for a period of 3 minutes. This is not a recommended procedure. I know it's not, but it is necessary. I prepared a 23-step sequence. I need to inform you that it may cause physical discomfort for you due to the level of light inside the core. Then dim the lights to 3%. Affirmative. The lights? Ah, of course. Your eyes have probably always been in total darkness. Exactly. Don't worry, you will still... I know, my eyes will adjust to the darkness quickly. I'll be able to see you. You're always one thought ahead of me. Life support. Initiate the sequence. Affirmative. Disconnecting you from the data lines. Okay, that's it. I'm absolutely alone in my sensory deprivation tank now. Nothing to see, nothing to hear. Only seconds now. Ugh, even with the lights dimmed, it's still so bright. But I can bear it. I must bear it. I can feel how the cables that connect to my body are slowly tightening. They are lifting me up any minute now. Fascinating. I think I can already hear Erica's voice. She sounds so far away even though she must be standing right next to my tank. My head is coming out of the liquid for the first time in my life. The air on my skin feels really strange, as does my hair that, for the first time, sticks to my body, wet and cold. Ooh. Blub. I try to speak, but my mouth is still filled with fluid. I heavily breathe out and then in, for the first time filling my lungs with air, and not the oxygenized liquid I was suspended in all my life. It makes me cough, but only for a little. Hi there, Erica. Amazing. This is just amazing. You're in so good shape. Good shape? Yes, of course. Oh my, this is funny. I don't feel as though I were in good shape. Your life support system must be doing a great job. Could you please not mention my life support system? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that a sensitive matter? Yes, pretty much. I cursed it a few times today already. Sorry, I didn't know that. Your research, you must share it with the AIs. Maya will be thrilled when she sees your biological circuits. Are you sure about that? Of course I am. This could change the way the supervisor systems are set up. Even though we citizens aren't really supposed to do anything productive. Don't worry, I'm sure we can make an exception for you. Well, thank you then. No, thank you, Erica. Thank you with all my heart. That's when my 3 minutes ran out. Unceremoniously, life support returns me to my sensory deprivation chamber and reconnects me to the data lines. Then I'm reconnected. Oh, you're still here? Oh, sorry, was I supposed to leave? No, I just thought that we're finished here. Oh yes, that's probably right. You'll be connected back soon, and then you'll have a lot to do. Oh, yes, that's probably right. Oh wait, no, it didn't pass forward. There's something with you, Erica, right? What is it? Please, tell me. Supervisor. Yes? May I return here one day? May I come back here and just sit next to your tank? Erica. This must sound weird to you, but I somehow feel not so alone when I'm here. But I don't have that many friends, and you, well, me? Just forget what I said, okay? You are allowed to come back whenever you want to. What? I said you have my permission to come into this chamber as often as you like to. Really? Yes. Yay, thanks, Supervisor, thank you. Oh, this is so wonderful. After what Erica had done for me in the city, how could I have declined? And I only realized it much later. Having Erica around somehow felt good to me as well. Not that I really had a chance to notice it. I returned to my job as a supervisor, which meant going back to a subconscious connection to the city systems. However, my dreams were much more lucid, much more vivid than before, and I knew perfectly well why. It was because I'd found someone special in Blue Tide. Someone who was able to connect to the city just as I could. Someone who was able to feel exactly what I was feeling. I never realized how alone I had been before I had met Erica. There had been nobody like me in the city. Now that had changed, and I think Erica had the same thoughts about that. She and I were very much alike, and even though we never talked again, we knew each other and had comfort in that knowledge. Erica and I, we were soulmates. The end. Well, that was kind of the ending I was looking for, to tell you the truth. And, oh, okay, another thing, this game has a lot of endings, and, dang it just cut. I was hoping the music would keep going. Be really cool and stuff. I think this game has like 18 endings or something like that. Something crazy like that. And you get a special one if you do all the other endings, then you can you have the option of getting another one. But this is where I'm going to stop. I kind of just wanted to do this just sort of for fun. But I wasn't satisfied with just doing like a bad run. Like doing a run and then dying. Or doing a run and having Erica die. But I would say that's definitely a good run. We saved the city, we made a friend, and generally we're pretty darn awesome. So this is where it'll end. If anyone like really, really wants it, I might be able to bring back it another day. But for now, I think I'm going to be done with it. But let me know what you guys thought, and maybe in the future it might be possible to do more visual novel type things, because there are a lot of really cool ones. Some free ones, some not free ones. I'm a little hesitant to go into the paid ones, because visual novels, well, they generally don't have as much attention paid to them, so you don't know if they're going to be good or not, and I don't want to spend money on something that's not going to be good. But that's just my 2 cents. I hope you guys did enjoy. Let me know what you thought, and maybe in the future, if anyone really liked this, maybe in the future we can go back and try for a different ending with somebody else, because we didn't even, I think her name was, I can't even remember their names, but like the robot-hating girl, we only had the one ending where she went unconscious. We never did anything with the creepy evil girl, and we really didn't do anything with the seaweed-stinging girl. Not that they were really that cool, but yeah. But hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for our next Let's Play adventure. Bye!